I'm Mackenzie Tessick, and I will be debating against Tyler that marijuana should remain legal in California because of the economic support it holds, the medical benefits, and the jobs that the cannabis industry is providing. Marijuana is a drug that by many is very misunderstood. It is seen by some as dangerous, but it can actually be the exact opposite. Before marijuana became completely legal for all uses in California in 2016, the drug was legal purely for medical reasons and previously completely illegal. Adults in today's society are really stressed and under much pressure. Marijuana can help relax them. The country is in debt, and keeping this legal is helping the economy.
Marijuana is a drug that is completely underestimated as it can affect brain developments, making our future generations less intelligent. My name is Tyler Berman. Marijuana has slowly been increasing from being illegal to only being used for medical purposes to becoming completely legal in California in 2016. The legalization of marijuana in California should be abolished because having marijuana legal makes weed more accessible, impacts learning disabilities, and increased memory loss among teens, and states that have legalized weed are more prone to accidents. Young adults and teens today are getting stressed and turning to marijuana as a relief, impacting their health and leading them to use other drugs as it is so accessible because marijuana is legalized in California.
Marijuana should remain legal in California because it is good for the economy. The tax government is receiving 15% of all profit of marijuana for both medical and recreational uses. From recreational uses alone, the government has made $2.75 billion in 2018. A large part of these taxes are going to social programs and universities. Along with the taxes, the cannabis industry is a great investment opportunity. Keeping marijuana legal will also save money that would be used on enforcement. In 2018, 587,000 people were arrested for marijuana-related crimes, more than murder and rape combined. Since marijuana is legal, it's saving tax dollars. The map shows how much money states have made in the cannabis industry in 2018. You can see that California has made $2.75 billion from recreational uses alone.
Having an economy that makes this much money off of drugs isn't morally right. If the government wants to make money from drugs, then it will soon make our nation weak, as eventually they will want to make more money with different types of drugs. The government also won't save money on enforcement, as they will have to enforce the laws and stipulations of marijuana.
The state of California only made marijuana legal over other drugs because it was proven by Harvard Medical that it has many good medical uses and can be used as a relaxer, unlike other drugs that have far more negative and an addictive effect. Also, people voted for this drug to be legal and have the right to use it or not use it. Marijuana should remain legal because the cannabis industry is providing lots of jobs, especially to people that wouldn't have jobs otherwise. For example, ex-convicts who would be on the street are being provided with jobs. The cannabis industry in California supports a little over 90,000 jobs today.
Having more jobs open in the cannabis industry isn't necessarily better for our nation. Creating these jobs makes weed more accessible to people across the nation, which can make our country less smart and more lazy as a whole. Studies have shown this to be true as it leads to lower IQs, and the drug itself makes people less social. Having more jobs in our country is good for the growth of the US, but promoting the use of drugs in those jobs isn't.
Having more jobs is far better for our nation. We have many homeless people who would love to have jobs, or ex-convicts that can't be around children. This would be a great opportunity for them to get jobs and possibly restart their life. Some people can't afford educations, and this could also be an opportunity for them. Having these jobs isn't promoting the drug, it's just regulating the supply. Wouldn't you live a less stressful life if marijuana was more accessible? Knowing that money gained from these proceeds of weed is going to good things like schools, fixing roads, universities, and social programs, then it isn't a negative problem. When you're in pain, wouldn't it be nice to eat some gummy bears infused with marijuana instead of having to swallow down pills? With the increase of the cannabis industry, less people could be homeless with the opportunity for more jobs. Vote to keep marijuana legal.
Marijuana should be abolished as it impacts and leads teens to the use of other drugs. According to a website about the study of marijuana, students who smoke marijuana are more likely to get lower grades and drop out of school. 1 in 6 teens who use marijuana can become addicted and become more susceptible to using worse drugs in the near future. Keeping marijuana legalized creates more use of marijuana among teens that is easier to reach now that people above the legal age can go buy it.
Actually, Columbia University studies have shown a decrease in teens using marijuana since it became legal in Colufornia. This is because there is less of a black market, so with it legal, teens are actually unable to gain a wider access to the drug.
Maybe less black market, but more marijuana is being produced overall. Offsprings of marijuana users are at increased risk and/or addiction later in life. These children are more susceptible to mental illness and addiction just because their parents have used marijuana in their lifetime. That is not only wrong, but unfair, as it is putting defects on the next generation of kids in our country. creating a weaker and less smart generations of adolescents, which hurts our nation and its growth.
Scientists have been unable to prove this statement. With marijuana being legal, smokers are actually getting a cleaner, more pure version of the drug and being far less affected. Also, smokers of marijuana have been informed of these possible risks and are still choosing to use it. Doctors would not advise the drug medically if it truly showed it was unbeneficial and dangerous. UCSF did a study that marijuana can actually help anyone, including their hospital patients, specifically with pain, and haven't found any connections between marijuana users and mental illness.
Marijuana may be able to help some people, but its risks and uncertainty behind it isn't worth the risk of your children in the future being affected. Increased number of fatalities in states that have legalized marijuana in fatal car crashes. In 2016, drivers that had marijuana in their system, more than 69% did not have alcohol in their system. Marijuana is a harmful drug that takes people's lives, maybe not the drug itself, but the effects it has on a person. In this graph above, it is shown that in Colorado, when weed was legalized, it was at 45% of fatal deaths involving marijuana, but when it became legalized, it jumped to 145%.
In comparison, alcohol is the cause of many accidents resulting in death, but alcohol is not repealed. Many people use alcohol for the same reasons as recreational marijuana, to let loose and have a good time. But it is not the drug or the alcohol causing the accidents, it's the people choosing to get behind the wheel under the influence.
That is untrue because the drug is impairing the ability for one to drive. Wouldn't it be nice to have teens thrive in life and help improve our society, to not have a nation struggle with addiction, to live life with less accidents and death? Abolishing marijuana would do all these things and make our nation more united as a whole. Vote against marijuana and help the cause.